Hello people in time as well, so welcome back to a brand new video. So as you may have read from the title, in this video we're going to be talking about how to make learning algorithms easier and faster. So yeah, before we get into the video, if you enjoy it, remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, if you don't enjoy the video, make sure to let me know why down in the comments. I always try my best to improve from video to video. So yeah, let's get on to the video. So first things first is a sheet of paper. Now, this tip, obviously, one thing that you probably have heard a lot is that writing helps you memorize, and that is completely true. Usually, when you're trying to memorize algorithms, don't try to just memorize them off sites. Try and write them down. It is also very good because then that means if you want to add stuff, you can add stuff to the algorithms. We'll show you what kind of things you can add later on. So yeah, that's the first tip. Write down your alg sets. It will help you memorize them. It will help you visualize them more. It will help you then break them down into steps. Now, let's talk about breaking them down into steps. I'll take it as example these first two algs. This is one alg, this is a separate alg. These are both 2x2 algs of an alg set called NLL. But that's not important. What's important is when you see this, what you see is a string of letters. Not really meaningless, pretty meaningless. And it's gonna be hard to memorize it that way. What I always reckon you do, we'll start with the one below since it's easier, is to separate into steps your algorithms. Now, usually when you see things in between brackets and algorithms, it's because they're triggers. Now, we're gonna talk about triggers later. Right now, you have your algorithm written down. You want to separate it in a way that it follows patterns. So what's a pattern? Let's start by seeing this one. This algorithm goes U, R2, U prime, R2, B2, U prime, R2, U, R2. Now, what's the first thing we notice is that this is nearly the same as this, but with U and U prime inverted. Did you see it? This starts with U, then R2, then U prime, R2. You do a B2, and then you do a U prime, R2, U, R2. So once you've written down your algorithm, separating this will make it a lot easier to learn it, because then when you try to remember it, you're like, okay, so it starts U, R2, U prime, R2. Okay, yeah, I remember that. And now I need to do a B2, but what comes after? Oh yeah, now I remember. I need to switch the U prime and the U and do the same thing as the beginning. So U prime, R2, U, R2. Now obviously this was a simple case. This is and it was a pretty obvious one. Usually most people will notice it while learning it. But let's take the first alg as an example. You can see what possibly can be a pattern here. Now, sometimes to see a pattern, you're gonna need to have your cube out, because doing the solve will help you visualize this pattern. So let's start the solve. Let's start the algorithm. R, B, R prime, B2, L, B, L prime, D2, B2. Now, first things first, we can separate the B2. We know that the B2 and D2, B2 won't necessarily give us anything specific. So that's something we already know that those will be out of the brackets that we're gonna try and put. Now, what's one thing we notice the R, B prime, R prime is that R, you kind of put the face up. Same goes for the B. You higher the face, and then R prime, you lower it back down. What about the L? L is you lower your face, your left face. Then you do B prime in this algorithm, which lowers the B face, and then you do L prime, which hides the face. So that seems like an interesting pattern that we may circle out. So basically how this would work is that you see R, B, R prime, L, B prime, L prime. So you see, you put your face towards up, like you make your face go up. Then with B, the B face will also be going up, and then the R face will be going back down. You do a B2, which kind of acts as a separation between the two, and then you learn it as, oh, I lower my left face, that means my B face will have to go down, and that means since I lowered the L face the first time, I'm gonna have to put it back up. Something like that. Those are like little things that can help you memorize your algs easier, because then when you're thinking about your alg, you're like, okay, how did this alg go? Oh, okay, the one where I higher and lowered my faces. Okay, so how did it happen? Oh yeah, it started with R, I'm sure of that. Okay, so if it started with R, that means the next one had to be B. since when I put up my right face, that means my B face is going up, and then I do R prime to put it back down, since I put it up the first 2 times. I don't know if it makes too much sense, but that's kind of how you have to reflect on it. You have to find patterns that work for you on these algorithms. Now, a second thing, it accounts for both this alg set and this alg, is usually there are patterns in alg sets themselves. Now, for this one isn't really too big. Like on this alg set, this is not really too big of a pattern because it doesn't really happen that often, but I still want to point it out for these 2 specific algs. Say they were in the same subset of algs of the alg set. The one thing you could notice is the B2. So you could refer to that as like the separation of your two steps in brackets for that specific subset. Obviously, this is not really a good case to point this out because these are part of 2 different substeps of the alg set, but still, these are things that happen in your alg sets and that you could take note of to make your learning algs easier. Now let's talk about the algs below. These are 2 OLL algs. One is this alg. Sorry. So for this case, obviously it's not the best alg to use for this case, but it's the best one to demonstrate what I'm trying to demonstrate. And the other one is this alg. Yep, there we go. Now, how can we make them learn easier? Because you see this alg, you see a very long string of letters. Now, this brings us to triggers. Triggers, probably most of you have heard of them, at least have heard of the most famous one, the sexy move, which is RU or prime U prime, or like sets of moves that can be found in algorithms that move specific ways your pieces. And what you're gonna notice, for every alg set has triggers that reappear throughout the alg set. So for OLL and even PLL, you're gonna see a lot of sexy moves, sledgehammers, stuff like that. So another thing that makes writing down your algorithms very useful is it allows you to see these reoccurring triggers, and then obviously if they're already named, you don't have to name them, but if you don't know their name, you can give it a name yourself, helps you memorize it better. For example, let's act like this is a trigger. Obviously it isn't, but let's act like it is. RB prime. I don't know, instead of calling it like, you can call it double lift lower. I don't know. It's just random names that come up to your head that you know will stick in your head. So when you see this, you know you have to do this specific trigger. So instead of learning it as let's go back to sexy move. Instead of learning it as RU or prime U prime, you learn it as sexy move. Okay, so it's RU2 or prime U prime, sexy move, RU prime R prime. Okay, so, and trust me, that makes it a lot easier. Learning a word is easier than learning a letter string, a meaningless letter string. So yeah, that's another thing you wanna take note of. Being able to find recurring triggers within alg sets makes it easier to learn. And then what also happens is this specific trigger, for this case sexy move, can be associated to other triggers that are similar, like for example this one. This one, obviously is not a sexy move since it's U2 or prime U prime, but still can be associated to it, so you can learn it as a sexy move with a U2 in the first U. Because if you notice, R U2 or prime U prime instead of R U or prime U prime, so just to memorize the extra U. And that can also make a variant of the sexy move. So like, okay, sexy move with the U2, sexy move, insert because obviously, now I said insert. What does insert mean? Or U prime R prime. If I'll get a 4 by, I'll get my 3-bit. There we go. Or U prime R prime. Sorry. Or U prime R prime basically is when you inserting a pair. Or U prime R prime. So you know that when you have that, it's basically you inserting a pair this exact way. While other variants are RU R prime. So when you have this insertion RU R prime, and yeah, and like R prime U R prime. There's quite a few of these. It's like these 3-letter strings are basically insertions, and if you when you know you have or like their insertions, it can also be considered as like putting the things out. So if you see RU R prime in the beginning, you know you're taking out a pair. So also knowing these insertions and removal of pairs and group of 2 pieces at the beginning and end will make it also easier, because then I know, okay, so the algorithm goes sexy move with the U2, sexy move, insert the pair. There is my algorithm learned. And now tell me which is easier. That, what I just said, or learning RU2 R prime U prime, or U R prime U prime, or U R prime U prime, or U prime R prime. Like, that's just a mess. You're not gonna understand what you're saying, like what you're thinking during that. And then, now also that you may have seen this last algorithm. Let's try and do what we learned throughout the thing. So find recurring themes, RU R prime U prime, trigger. So that's sexy move. Okay, sexy move. Let's practice it out. RU R prime U prime. There we go. That's another one. Okay, what do I notice? Oops, that's F prime. What do I notice? Okay, starts with an F, ends with an F prime. So I'm gonna have to lower this face, do the sexy move, put this face back up. Lower these 2 faces, do a sexy move, put this face back up, because a small f can also be written as FW if you prefer. Is when you lower the 2 faces. This is F, this is F, like this small f, this small f prime. So like, okay, so at the start, before the sexy move, I'm gonna have to lower 1 face, lower 1 layer, do a sexy move, put my layer back up. Lower 2 layers, sexy move, 2 layers back up. There we go. Alg learned. It's really that simple. It makes learning algs a lot easier, breaking them down. Like, tell me if there's a difference between this and what we had earlier in the video, which was just strings of letters. Tell me what's easier to learn. Now, I've said all these tips to learn your algorithms. It makes your algorithm learn faster and makes you forget them harder. But a final tip, which I recommend to anyone that wants to learn an alg set, okay, is don't learn too much at once. Now, one may say, oh, but have a comp in 1 week. If you have a comp in 1 week, there's no point in learning an alg set, because it's not gonna be beneficial in no way. You want to learn an alg set in your own time, slowly. So, I don't know, me personally, my sweet spot is 3 algs a day. If I learn 3 algs a day, I won't forget them ever. This is the example for the NLL alg set, which I nearly finished learning. It's I think it's like 36 algs. Okay, I decided to learn 3 a day. Tomorrow in 2 days I'm gonna finish learning them. And there's yet to be a day where the 3 algs I learn, I forget them. Why? Because I do these steps, and I don't learn too many a day. So yes, that's what the video says, faster. But trust me, learning algorithms is one of these cases where slow and steady wins the race. So taking time to learn your algorithms will actually make you learn them faster than learning them all in a day and then forgetting them like 2 days before the moment you need to use them. So you need to research the alg back, relearn it. Oh, but you forgot this other one and stuff like that. I did that with PLLs. I learned all PLLs in 2 days. Okay, let me tell you, it took me 3 weeks to actually remember the vperm. Okay, that same day, yes, I thought I learned the vperm. The first few days I knew it, then I forgot it completely. Why? Because I had learned too many algorithms in a short span of time. And that, trust me, was a lot less efficient than if I were to learn, say, 3 PLLs a day. That would have been a lot easier, because then I would have not forgotten them. I could have directly went to drilling them the day I finished learning them. Or like the day I finished learning the last one of them. And that's one important thing. Also, you may have heard me just say right now the word drilling algorithms. You need to practice your algorithms. You cannot just learn them and be like, okay, I remember it. I'm never gonna practice it again until I need it in a specific case. No, that's not what you do. One thing I'd recommend doing is while you're learning the alg set, re-practice all the, like, as soon as you learn a new algorithm, go back and do every single algorithm of that alg set. Obviously, if something like ZBLL, you cannot really do it, but in that case, you could take like a sub-step and basically redo every single one of them. And then when you get back to those algorithms, a bit of time is going to have passed depending on how big the algorithm is. And that's really going to prove to you if you remember it or not. If you don't remember it, you have to learn a bit better. But also allow you to practice your previous algorithms and make you not forget them. Because re-practicing algorithms is good. Trust me. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about learning algorithms. I hope this video was useful for you guys, and now you're going to be able to learn your alg sets easier, and maybe you're going to be a bit more motivated to actually learn new algorithms and different types of alg sets. Because trust me, when I discovered these few tips and was like, oh my god, I can learn these algorithms so easily. Yes, I want to learn algorithms. And from that point, I've been learning 3 algs a day since the moment I discovered these tricks. And like never stopped, because like I was always motivated to learn new algs because I knew, oh, I'm not gonna forget them. Now I've basically now learned most of OCLL for Megaminx. Well, no, all of OCLL for Megaminx. I've now started learning all the algorithms for the HD method for 2x2. I'm probably gonna start learning winter variation. All these just because I know that now I can learn algorithms without forgetting them, and that's why it is so good to know these few tricks to memorize algorithms better. So yeah, I've been your boy Xavier. As I said in the beginning of the video, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I don't know if this was helpful or not. And yeah, stay tuned. In a few days, I'm gonna be releasing a video. It's gonna be talking cubing methods about the HD method for 2x2. And yeah, that's really about it. I've been your boy Xavier. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on in my life, there's my Twitter down in the description. If you want to see more content of me, may it be gaming, may it be yeah, mostly gaming, there's a link to my Twitch in the description. And that's about it. I upload every week at least one video. Extra videos are going to be announced on Twitter, like this one. This one is actually technically an extra video. So yeah, I've been rambling on for too much. I've been able to do 5 years. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came.
I think I just came.
On this beat, had to go and get it in. Knock on your door.